Getting started with Hardhat, a beginner's guide. If you've been dabbling in smart contract development, you've probably heard of Hardhat. But what exactly is it, and why should you care? Well, imagine trying to build a house without proper tools. You might manage it, but it's going to be messy and take forever. That's essentially what developing smart contracts was like before frameworks like Hardhat came along. Hardhat is a development environment that makes building, testing, and deploying smart contracts feel less like wrestling with a bear and more like, well, actual development work. It's built specifically for Ethereum, and honestly, it's become the go-to choice for most developers I know. What makes Hardhat different? Before we dive into the technical stuff, let's talk about why Hardhat exists. Back in the day, we had Truffle, which was decent, but developers wanted something more flexible and powerful. Hardhat came along with some pretty neat features that made everyone sit up and take notice. Key Hardhat features. Built-in local Ethereum network that's fast and reliable for testing. Detailed stack traces when your contracts fail. Trust me, you'll need this. Flexible plugin architecture that lets you extend functionality. TypeScript support out of the box. Console.log debugging and Solidity contracts. Setting up your first Hardhat project. Alright, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty. First thing you'll need is Node.js installed on your machine. If you don't have it, grab it from nodejs.org. Once that's sorted, we can create our project. Commands to create a new directory, initialize npm package, and install Hardhat as development dependency. Initialization command that starts Hardhat setup wizard with project templates. Understanding the project structure. Hardhat project folders. Contract / this is where your Solidity smart contracts live. Script / deployment scripts and other automation go here. Test / your test files, and you better write tests. Hardhat.config.js, the main configuration file. Basic Hardhat configuration file with Solidity version, local host network, and Sepolia testnet setup using environment variables. Writing your first smart contract. Complete ERC0 token contract with state variables, mappings for balances and allowances, transfer and approval events, constructor for initial supply, and transfer / approve functions with proper validation. Testing your contract. Comprehensive test suite using Mocha and Chai that sets up test signers, deploys contract before each test, verifies initial state, tests successful token transfers, and ensures proper error handling for insufficient balance. Command to execute the complete test suite and verify contract functionality. Quote, One thing I learned the hard way is that good tests aren't just about making sure your code works. They're about making sure it fails gracefully when it should. Always test both the happy path and the edge cases. A developer's hard-earned wisdom. Deploying your contract. Once your tests are passing, and please make sure they're passing, it's time to deploy. First, let's create a deployment script in the scripts folder. Deployment script that imports Hardhat runtime, creates contract factory, deploys with initial supply, logs deployment details, waits for confirmations, and includes proper error handling. Command to execute deployment script on local Hardhat network. Command to deploy contract to Sepolia testnet using network flag. Debugging and console logging. One of Hardhat's killer features is the ability to use console.log in your Solidity contracts. Just import it and use it like you would in JavaScript. Example contract showing console.log debugging in Solidity with input logging, calculation tracking, and validation confirmation. Essential Hardhat commands. Most used Hardhat commands. npx Hardhat compile, compiles your contracts. npx Hardhat test, runs your test suite. npx Hardhat node, starts a local Ethereum node. npx Hardhat run scripts /deploy.js, runs deployment scripts. npx Hardhat verify, verifies contracts on Etherscan. Common gotchas and how to avoid them. Every developer runs into these issues at some point, so let me save you some headaches. First, version mismatches between your Solidity compiler and your contracts. Always check that your hardhat.config.js compiler version matches what you're using in your contracts. Second, gas estimation issues. When deploying to mainnet, always test on a testnet first. Gas costs can be wildly different, and you don't want surprises when you're spending real ETH. Third, environment variables. Never, ever commit your private keys to version control. Use a .env file and make sure it's in your .gitignore. Lastly, network configuration problems. If you're getting weird errors when deploying, double-check your RPC URLs and make sure your account has enough ETH for gas fees. Hardhat has honestly revolutionized how I approach smart contract development. The debugging capabilities alone have saved me countless hours of head-scratching. The local network spins up fast, the error messages are actually helpful, and the testing framework just works. As you get more comfortable with Hardhat, start exploring plugins. There are plugins for everything: gas reporting, contract verification, coverage analysis, and more. The ecosystem is rich and keeps growing. Remember, smart contract development is still relatively new, and the tooling is constantly evolving. Hardhat represents the current state of the art, but who knows what we'll have in a few years. For now, though, it's your best bet for professional smart contract development. Enjoyed this video? Hit the like button and subscribe to stay tuned for more.